I'd like to welcome you back to the page. I am Laurie Anne, the Community Manager for Southern Charm Wreaths, as well as a design coach in Wreath of the Month Club and for Southern Charm Wreaths. Today we're going to talk about how to make a simple patriotic mesh wreath. Now, I know that there are plenty of people out there who can take mesh wreaths up to another level. You can make it as simple or as elaborate as you would like to. This tutorial is going to be the beginning of how to make your mesh base work very well for you. So we're going to do a mesh base. I'm going to add ribbon and then talk to you a little bit about what else you can do, okay? So if you're just getting started with Deco mesh wreaths, you're not sure how to do it, I'm going to show you how. This is a wonderful way to decorate your door for the upcoming patriotic holiday, right? All right, so I'm going to show you what we have first. I have a 24, this can either be a 20, some people refer to this as a 24-inch Deco mesh wreath base, all right? This is also known as a wreath work form, all right? Now, the reason why they say it's 24-inch is there's 24 inches from here to here, but it's also known as a 15-inch, which there's 15 inches from here to here. So you can hear it two different ways. You can hear it as a 15-inch work wreath form, or you can hear it as a 24-inch work wreath form. These have tinsel ties on them. They are bendable. There are 18 ties on a work wreath form, okay? The next thing we have is Deco mesh. This is 10-inch Deco mesh. We're going to use that. There are different ways that you can use Deco mesh in mesh wreath forms. We're going to do the poof method today. There's also the curl method. There's the ruffle method. The poof method is the simplest, in my humble opinion, for those who are just getting started. We're going to use 10-inch Deco mesh, and I have 4 sets of ribbons. I have 2.5-inch, and I have cut each ribbon 9 inches. So this is a 9-inch piece of ribbon that I have cut, right? And I have dovetailed it at both ends. Dovetailing simply means that you fold your ribbon in half and you cut at an angle, and that makes a dovetail, okay? So I have 2.5-inch ribbons, and I have 2 1.5-inch ribbons that I have cut exactly the same way, 9 of each of them, and I have dovetailed them. Now, the length of the actual ribbon tails, that's what we call these, are ribbon tails, depends on the actual designer. I typically like to cut them at 13 inches, and then once I have all my ribbons in, if I need to go in and trim some down, it gives me a good inch to work with. 14-inch is a little too long in my opinion. 12-inch is a little short in case I need to go back in and trim some ribbons down. So I like 13 inches. You can cut it on your cutting mat. You can cut it with a ruler. You can make your own. This is a ribbon tail cutter. I'm not sure whether you can see on it. It has 13 inches. It has 14 inches. Simply what you do is put the actual ribbon on here, wrap it around 9 inches, take it off the board, and then you cut both ends. Okay? All right, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is add our deco mesh. I'm going to pull you down so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to get these ribbon tails out of the way, and let's get started. Let me put my phone up here. All right, here we go. Now, I have the deco mesh. The way I do it, and there's all different types of ways you can do it. The way I do it is I take the beginning of it. Let's get the tape off of this. I simply get the beginning of it and I fold it over. I probably fold it over about 3 inches. And then I gather it up. Okay? So that's what I start with. All right? We don't want these ends right here because, as you can see, they can fray very easily. We don't want that. We don't want to get it started like that. So that's why I turn it over and then I gather it up a little bit. Okay? And then I'm going to take my deco mesh and I'm simply going to drop it to the floor. I like to start on the upper ring. It helps my hands not to be scratched by the actual twist ties. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. Let's pull you in a little closer. There we go. I'm going to take this folded edge. I'm going to open up one of the twist ties right here. And I'm going to lay it down. And I'm going to twist the deco mesh into the twist tie. Now, personally for me, I like to zip tie that section down. Let me find my little, because if I don't, I like a finished edge look. And so I'm just going to take this zip tie. I'm going to wrap this zip tie around this. And I'm going to zip tie it down. Right? This is not going to be seen. But for me, I like to do it. It gives it a finished edge look on the back. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Heather and Mary and Sally. I hope you all are doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. We are doing a simple patriotic deco mesh wreath today for anyone who is interested in starting with deco mesh. All right. So as you can see, this is my beginning, all right? I have twisted it down, and I have put a zip tie on it. Now, the poof method means that this deco mesh right here, I'm going to form it in an actual poof. It's just like a little poof right here. And I measure out 10 inches from the actual tie. Let's see, that's 17. We're going to go 27, all right? I'm going to make sure that both of my edges on both sides are tucked under, okay? You want to make sure it's tucked under, just like that right there. And I'm going to go to the next tie, and I'm going to twist it down in, okay? Just one twist, and I'm going to make sure my poof stands up. Hi, Paula. Good day. Hi, Carrie. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. I have measured 10 inches and I have made a poof. This is very simple. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to make sure my edges are tucked under again. All right. I'm going to, again, measure 10 inches, which this is 10 inches, from the twist tie to where my hand is. I'm going to lift it up, and I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to twist one time, just like that. And I'm going to tuck it under. Okay? See how it has a puff? Now, what you want to do with your puffs are, you want to make sure that they height-wise are as even as possible. Let's see if I can show you on here. See, these right here are as even as they possibly can. That's one of the advantages of measuring your deco mesh. All right, I'm going to turn it a little bit. I'm going to make sure my edges are tucked under. I'm going to measure again 10 inches. Sometimes deco mesh has a mind of its own, and you just have to work with it a little bit. But I've done it again. We're going to open this puff up. Okay? And you just go around and you're going to repeat the process on the upper ring. Again, making sure my edges are tucked under, measuring 10 inches. And having your puff stand up. This method gives a lot of coverage with the deco mesh in your design. Okay. The thing about deco mesh is they are a lot of fun. They can be very whimsical if you choose to make them whimsical. But you literally have to build your base. Whereas grapevines, you don't have to build the base like that. All right, so I am coming to the end right here. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this twist tie. Again, I'm going to measure 15 inches, or I'm not 15, 10 inches. I'm going to undo this twist tie. I'm going to lay this deco mesh down in and re-twist it. Just like that right there. That's what we have. Okay, now I need to drop down to the second level. So what I'm going to do is pretty tightly, just like that right there, I'm going to take this deco mesh and I'm going to slide it right into this twist tie. And I'm going to twist it down in there. See that right there? So I've dropped down to the second level. I'm going to continue to repeat the pattern that I had on the top. Just like that right there. This is the first one on the bottom. Okay? And I'm going to continue to go around. If you don't like the way the puff comes out once you twist it, you can always redo it. Okay? But you want to twist pretty tightly. In my humble opinion, the key to Deco mesh, which helps it not fray, is to make sure the edges of the Deco mesh are tucked under. That way they don't have much to grab hold of that would cause it to fray somewhat. Let's keep going. Again, you want to make sure that the edges are tucked under. That's so important. Almost finished with the second level. Sometimes when these wreath work forms are made, they're not, the spacing between each twist tie might be a little off. Don't worry about that. The Deco mesh will cover that up. It will not make your wreath look any different than it should. You just keep going. Okay, we're coming to the end. I'm at the last one right here. I'm going to untwist my tie that I started with. Okay. I'm going to take the last poof and I'm going to put it in where I first started and I'm going to twist it. All right. So that's what we have. All right. Now, I go an extra step. I was taught that many moons ago. If you can see right here, you can kind of see in between here. There's somewhat of a hole. So what we do is we put a third row in our Deco mesh to cover this up. All right. We teach that in Wreath of the Month Club. So I'm going to come in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the lower level ties as I make my poof to go in between this. It's going to be attached to the lower level. Now, you can also do it this way. You can zigzag it. You can attach the first one to the bottom level, then you can jump up and attach the second one to the top level and go back down to the lower level as you go around with your third layer, okay? But for today, I'm just going to do the bottom level. And it gives it such a fuller effect when you put this third layer in. You can untwist it, or you can just add it, twist it into the twist ties that are already there. I think for time's sake, I'm just going to twist it to the twist tie instead of undoing it. You can do it either way. As we say in Wreath of the Month Club, there are no rules. just suggestions, right? When we're making our designs, it comes down to the individual designer and how they would like to make their design. Now, as you can see, I'm not sure whether you can notice it yet, but this side, let's see, this side over here is so much fuller than this side right now because I have added the third layer. So it gives it a much more fuller look. I make Deco mesh wreaths for popular holidays like Patriotic, Halloween, Valentine's Day. They are so fun to work with. All right, let's see, 1, 2, 1. I'm trying to find where I started. Okay, I got 2 more to go. Now, for those who are just starting out and want to give Deco Mesh a try, this could be your wreath on your door, right? This, as is, would make a gorgeous wreath to put on your door for the holiday, patriotic holiday, Memorial Day, 4th of July, that kind of thing. Okay, I am finished here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure out about 5 to 6 inches, and I'm going to cut this off. Okay? This is how much I have left. So I don't have much left, right? But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold this over, just like that right there. I'm going to tuck it down in between and through the back of my Deco Mesh work wreath form. This is what I have. Just like that right there. I'm going to get another zip tie. That's a long one. Oh well, I'll use it. You don't have to use this long of a zip tie. It's just one I grabbed that I have. Okay, and I'm going to zip tie this down. And I'm going to pull it tightly and cut that off. Now, let me show you the reason why I do that. See this right here? And this one right here? They are so much more finished than just a piece of Deco Mesh hanging off the back. Okay, so that is how I finish my Deco Mesh wreaths off when I'm building the base. All right, you don't have to do that. That is not necessary. Okay, then you go back in and you just make sure your puffs, Deco Mesh puffs, are where you'd like them to be. That puff needs to be opened up a little bit so the base does not show. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to make sure that all my puffs are opened up and the base does not show. There you go. Now, you could use this and you could be finished with it, right? A very simple deco mesh wreath. But we're going to add some ribbon to it, okay? Now, I have two 2.5-inch ribbons. I have cut 9 pieces each, and I have dovetailed them. They're 13 inches long. Then I have two 1.5-inch ribbons. They're 13 inches long, and I have cut 9 of these each also. Good morning, Vicki. Good morning. So I need to pair a 2.5-inch and a 1.5-inch up, okay? So I'm going to take this polka dot, and I'm going to pair it with the stars and stripes right here, okay? And I'm going to take this dark blue star, and I'm going to pair it with this red and white stripe. All right? So the first thing you want to do is you want to take your 2 pairs, put them on top of each other, bring them together, and you want to press it down. This is the middle of the ribbon. You want to open it back up, and you want to gather the middle piece, okay? They're equal amounts on this side and this side. That's why you folded it in half, to get the equal amount, all right? I'm going to open up. You can open up a twist tie, or you can just lay it down in the twist tie and twist around it 1 time. Maybe 2 if you'd like to. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an X with my ribbons. Okay? So I've made an X right here. See that? Now I'm going to alternate. I'm going to take the next 2 combinations of ribbon. I'm going to lay it on top of each other. I'm going to fold it in half. Right? To find the center, I'm going to open it back up. I'm going to gather it up or pinch it. And I'm going to go to the next twist tie. I'm going to lay it down in there and twist it. Now, if you want to open the twist tie back up and lay it down in there, you can definitely do that as well. Okay? And that's what we have. So now I'm going to alternate. Again, I'm going to come back to the stars and stripes ribbon and the polka dot ribbon. I'm going to fold it up and find my center. I'm going to open it back up, pinch it together. I like to make sure my ribbons are straight, okay? And I'm going to come around here to the next one. Make them cross like a X. I think this right here is a little loose, which I'll have to fix. It keeps wanting to fall over. Okay. And so what you do is you just continue to go around, all the way around your wreath base, alternating with this technique. Don't worry about the way your ribbon streamers are falling at the moment. You're going to have an opportunity to go back in at the end of your design and make sure that your ribbon tails are standing up. and I'll show you how to do that. You want to make sure they are facing forward and not laying down. But for right now, the name of the game is to get them in your design. What I also like to do is I like to alternate the pattern. I know this might be a little bit more complicated, but I like to alternate the pattern if I can. If I have a 2.5 inch on one side, I want to make sure that there's a 1.5 inch on the other side. The reason why is, and this doesn't always happen, it doesn't always work out this way, but I like to see if I can make it work out. If I had 2.5 inches together and 1.5 inches together, it wouldn't, the coverage wouldn't be equal. So what I like to do is I like to make sure I have that right there, a 1.5 inch beside a 2.5 inch. Okay. All right, let's keep going. I've got one more. Now look, there's going to come a time when you're going to have to put the same exact ribbon beside another one. That is perfectly fine. Okay? Don't worry about it. These are odd. There's 10 on the bottom, 10 twist ties on the bottom, and there's 8 on the top. And alternating them, you're going to have one that comes out the same. Nobody's going to know it in the end. Okay, it's perfectly fine. All right, so I have the top level done. I'm going to drop down to the lower level, this level right here. So I have a stars and stripes and polka dot right here. I'm going to start off with a star and stripe on the bottom. Okay, let's keep going. These can be a lot of fun to make for those who are beginning to explore Deco mesh. They are pretty popular as well. See that right there? And you're just continuing to alternate, okay? Making that cross with your ribbons. Like that right there. Now, if you'll notice, I have 2 of the same ribbon on the top level as well as the bottom level. I don't need to worry about it. I'm just going to keep going. No reason to stress. As you can see, I'm opening up my twist ties once or twice and then going in and twisting back down. Good morning, Mary. Good morning. We're just about finished here. All right, I think we are. Let me just check and make sure. Yes, ma'am, we are. And so there you go. What a pretty, simple, patriotic deco mesh wreath. Just like that. Very easy to do. All right, let me pull you up just a minute. And I want to show you how you can make your ribbon tails stand up. Okay? Very pretty. Simple deco mesh wreath. All right? Get it to where you can see it. All right, you see how I have these ribbons? They're all kind of in different waves. They're all going kind of different types. We don't want that to happen with our designs. We want our ribbons standing up and facing forward so our viewers can see the actual really pretty ribbons we have chosen. So the way you do that is, this ribbon is falling over. You turn it and allow it to stand up, okay? If you're putting it on your door or you're selling it and taking a picture of it to sell, this is what you want to do prior to taking the picture. Now, like I said previously, earlier on, I cut my ribbon tails at 13 inches. And the reason why I do that is I want to give myself at least an inch if I need to cut it down to make the shape of my design look uniformed. All right. This ribbon right here is a little too long for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to trim it down. Okay. It gives it more of an opportunity to stand up. I'm going to come right here. I'm going to make sure my ribbon tails are facing forward. These designs are facing forward so you can see them better. Okay? So that's how you make your ribbon tails stand up. Just move them around and have them stand up. I'm still making sure my ribbons are in a cross shape. This one right here is a little too long, so I'm going to cut this down. Okay. I'm going to come right here and make sure these are standing up correctly. But I want to make sure that they are facing forward. Let me step across. Just a little bit of tweaking will allow your ribbons to stand up and be shown off. We want these ribbons to shine, right? So I'm going to go all the way around my wreath, and I'm going to make sure that they are standing up nicely. See, this one right here is a little too long. So I'm going to cut this one down a little bit. See how I'm making this red polka dot stand out? Honestly, these need to be switched over. So make sure that your ribbon tails are smooth and straight. Okay, so a little long. You can cut your ribbon tails at 12 inches if you'd like, but I always like to have enough if I want to trim off some I can. Okay. The other thing that you can do if you choose is you can come in and you can cut these twist ties down, right? You can come in here and cut them off if you're completely done with your design. That would be the very last thing I would do. I don't do that because I think the ribbon ties are a part of the design. But if that's what you choose to do, that's fine too. That is an option. All right, there we go. Now you see how my ribbons are standing forward. They're facing forward much better than they were previously. So we want to make sure that our ribbon tails are facing forward. But at this point, this is a very pretty design. I'll bring it close to you and let you see it. Really pretty, simple, patriotic design that you can do. Very simple to make. We only used one 15/24 inch work form. I explained what that work form is in the beginning. We used one roll of Deco mesh and 4 different ribbons, 2 2.5 and 2 1.5. At this point, you can stop here or you can elevate it and take it up. We teach how you can do that as well in Wreath of the Month Club. We could add a really pretty bow here. We could add a sign. We could add many more elements to it. Just really, there's a lot that you can do with this. But if you're new to Deco mesh or mesh wreaths and you want to learn how to make them, this is a great way to start. All right? Okay, I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I am Laurie Anne, the community manager, as well as a design coach for Southern Charm Wreaths. If you are interested in learning more about our Wreath of the Month Club group, please feel free to go to learntowreath.com or jump over to Southern Charm Wreaths. There's more information over there. If you know somebody who enjoys working with their hands and working with pretty flowers and material, they're very crafty, you think they might be interested in it, please feel free to like and share this video and share this with them as well. All right? Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have a great day again. As always, please be blessed and be somebody else's blessing. We'll see you soon. Bye.